Yo, it's your boy. We're doing a different kind of video this time. And if it sucks, we might never do one like it again. But I have kind of been keeping track of ratings and accolades that I've given to the people we've reviewed. Just something to do. I got like PR rankings, like what you'd see for like a regional like Street Fighter scenes. All right. So we have reviewed 24 people up to this point, as of today, the January 2026 official Comedy Tribunal Power Rankings. The most recent one being Megan Stalter, should be fresh in everyone's mind. I think Megan Stalter might be like the undisputed GOAT when it comes to just a really straight up like stand up ineptitude. Um, I don't know if I've ever seen anything else like it. And if that sounds interesting to you, I encourage you to watch the Megan Stalter video that I just put out a few days ago. She does make it in the Hall of Laughs. Hall of Laughs you're gonna see more primarily from the positive reviews that that we've done. But I genuinely laugh at something. I forget where at what part it was.
Talk to. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing
I think she made it into the Hall of
That was
Laughs.
weird.
Found it. There is a separate award for unintentionally sort of funny. We call that the Banola Bar Award. We'll get into that in a second. I decided not to go with the Banola Bar because there really wasn't a lot of, like I was saying with Megan Stalter, it's so difficult to tell how much of the awful is on purpose and how much of it is on accident. And I think one of the parts I did laugh at may have been on purpose. So I'm very hesitant to give out the Banola Bar Award to Megan Stalter, but I think I thought she lucked her way into the Hall of Laughs. It's not a given that you need to be good at stand-up or have a decent set to make it into the Hall of Laughs. You can be a -8 out of 10 and make it in there. The possibility of a -10 out of 10, I feel like, is maybe still out there. I don't know if we're ever going to see it in my lifetime. But yeah, that was Megan Stalter, number 24 out of 24. And then going up a little bit, we have Benjamin. He was one of the Kill Tony participants. I immediately gave him a fries in the bag. He was the one that did that joke that was like, oh yeah, I go hitchhiking, and I went hitchhiking in Mongolia, and I got into a car that had no floor. How do you base your car design off of the Flintstones? All I was thinking the whole time, we're yabba dabba
screwed.
Oh, bad. Ooh, that was bad. I'm taking a shower. I said I had faith in this guy, and then he goes and does that. You should be thrown in prison for making that joke, I feel like. Like, if you're not doing it, like, as a joke with your friends, like, in front of an audience that knows you're good at stand-up, and then you go do bad on purpose, like, maybe do something like that. But that is not what Benjamin was doing. And on top of that, he said he, like, runs a comedy club in Lithuania, and it's like, it really is as bad as it gets. I can't say as bad as it gets because we have the final boss down there. Really just bottom of the barrel. Just terrible. Jenny with an I. Another 0 out of 10. Kill Tony participant. Fries in the Bag Award. Very bad set. Terrible stage presence. Material was super hack. It was very like, haha, Mexican stereotypes. Like, oh, I'm one of the, it was lame. Don't take my word for it. Don't go watch it. It sucked. This
Probably
is ass.
because I've seen the bottom of my mom's chancleta more than my father.
We found a video of her doing a more updated set because the Kill Tony episode was from like 2023 or something, or 2020, maybe 2024. And then we found a set from her from May 2025, and she could barely do 3 minutes, and it was all the same material. Brandon La Caruba. I think out of all the zeros, this might be my least favorite. It elicited the most like negative response out of me, especially out of all the Kill Tony sets. I would say this was the worst one. He made the claim that it was hard for him to get laid while he was single in his late 20s in New York. you should just be kicked off the stage just for trying to set up that premise as it is. That doesn't make any sort of sense. It's the most highly populated place in the world. That should be the easiest place to get laid in that case. And then he said the only people that were around were like goth Jews. We all know that that's not true. You don't have to go to New York to know that that's not. Like, what are you talking about? And then he set all this up. The premise was so bad and inane. And then the punchline was a pun, a Blink 182 pun. He was like a Blink 180 Jew chick. And then when you don't text them, they're like, "Where are you?" And it was so bad, unforgivable. I think I said like it made me want to commit physical violence against him just listening to that. That's about as bad as a zero gets. I say that, but that Brandon LaCaruba, maybe you meet him in person, and he's a okay guy. Ben Bankus, I feel like you can pretty safely assume that just as a person, he gets a 0 out of 10. The guy sucks. Like his stand-up is terrible. He doesn't even pretend to do jokes on stage. There is no merit to anything that Ben Bankus does if you don't agree with what political rhetoric he's just saying on stage, because that's all he does. He doesn't have any jokes at all. None. 100% grifter. He grifts to like American right wingers. The guy's Canadian. He's literally Tom McDonald. He has no stake in any of this shit, and he's just up just saying bullshit, pretending to be a comedian because he's too fat to be like one of the like Andrew Tate alpha male guys. So this is like the avenue he has to grift, and it's like guys like that, they have their whole life is a fallacy, because he has a career that he made off of complaining about like the lazy, like soft liberals who can't get a real job, basically, when that is you. That's you. You have a career whining about the people that are doing exactly what you're doing. You have like an imaginary group of people in your head that you're complaining about, and that's the only reason why you're not working at Subway. The guy's dog shit in every single way. It's pretty crazy that I review Brian Callen and Brendan Schaub are both on this list, and we are 5 comics in, and they have not come up yet, and we're going worst to best right now. Like a funny indicator of Ben Bankus's like inability to do stand up and his just lack of talent. He has a whole special. You go through like the timeline on YouTube to look for like the most replayed moments, and there's just nothing. Like there's nothing that people are clicking on. Like there's no bits that anyone thinks are worth sharing. Like his fans are not. Like the guy's he's just worthless. Darrell Blewett. Here we go. Starting to get fun. This is a fun 0 out of 10. The rest of these zeros has been pretty painful. But Darrell Blewett, this was such a surreal video watching this. He's the reason why the Banola Bar award exists.
Sat back and done work themselves and eating that Banola Bar, and everybody else
a
is
Banola
sitting
Bar.
back
But yeah, no, I had fun with this one. Anyway, all right, we're out of the zeros. We made it to the 1 out of 10s. This is Brian Callen. Not a lot new to say about Brian Callen. Probably among the worst of all the Rogan Sphere Austin guys. His joke structure is go on a rant like a quirky girl kind of rant and just pray that the audience tolerates it, and then the punchline is always like, so yeah, that was kind of weird. He's honestly pretty similar to Megan Stalter in that way. I think I made that point in the video, actually. Yeah, irredeemable. Pretty terrible. Every once in a while he'll stumble into a very hacky joke that like passes as a joke, but pretty terrible. He gets the Banola Bar award. He gets fries in the bag for just being terrible, and he should never do it again. That's what this award means, by the way. He also gets the Banola Bar for having the greatest closer of all time in that special.
Dopamine, cortisol, adrenaline. And I thought to myself, damn, maybe it's not a coincidence that this machine I can't turn myself away from. Maybe it's not a coincidence that this machine is also called the Apple. Thank you.
Which prevents it from being just like a straight 0 out of 10. And then we have Brendan Schaub. I made a point to put Brendan Schaub above Brian Callen, because when you take into account that Brendan Schaub was pressured into really just getting into stand-up by Joe Rogan and by Brian Callen, you got to kind of judge him on how he's doing as a pupil of one of those guys. And, like, obviously he's an adult. He can make his own decisions. But, like, you were brought into this world by Brian Callen and Joe Rogan, two guys who are not good at stand-up, not very funny at all. So that's kind of the lens that you got to look at him through a little bit. And people in the comment section of that video who were, like, mad that I wasn't pissed off enough about the Gringo Poppy, it came out like 3 years ago, bro. Get over it. Cam Patterson. Now we're starting to get into the Kill Tony sort of regulars, because I reviewed most of the regulars, I think, on that episode I did. Not on purpose. I just reviewed it because I knew one of the guys that was on the show. It wasn't because I tried to find the worst episode. I don't watch Kill Tony. I've heard a lot of good things about Cam Patterson from friends of mine, whether they're comics or not. He went up, and the one joke he did on that Kill Tony episode was really garbage. Structurally, it works, but it's like a very hacky joke that you have heard everybody do before. Like, you were in middle school and you heard the joke, like, why are gay guys gay? Don't they know that women have assholes too? That's one of the oldest, lamest fucking jokes. And he was just like, yo, look what I came up with. It's like, you suck so bad, bro. And, like, maybe not as a whole, but in this moment, you are trash. Some people in the comments told me after that, like, yeah, no, Cam Patterson, kind of knows what he's doing. This was just kind of a low light for him. And, I'm sure I'll probably revisit him in the future. Go to number 15, Adam Lucky. I don't fucking give a shit about this guy. I'm sure he's a sweetheart of a guy, if you know him in real life. But that being said, his stand-up, at least the minute of stand-up I saw him do, shit sucks. It's like, when guys go up and they do jokes like, oh yeah, when I was trying to, like, murder my ex-girlfriend, or it's like when I have a one-night stand with a girl, like, sometimes I'll let her live and all that. It's like, none of us fucking believe you, man. This is just lame. Like, we already have, like, fucking Anthony Jeselnik, who's going to go up and just tell a bunch of made-up stories, and you're not as good at doing it as him. So, like, why am I wasting my time listening to this right now? And I understand, like, when you're new to stand-up, which I'm sure Adam Lucky probably is, you just find a way that you're able to do it that works. It's like I heard Mark Normand say it before. Like, don't... when you're, like, very new to stand-up, don't worry about what your style is. Your style is whatever you find that works. If that's what he found, that's working. But at least better than other stuff he's tried in the past. But is it good? No. And I remember he had one little one-liner in there where I was just like, I don't hate it. But yeah, that's just boring. Very boring. Chris Diorio. This was a guy that was on that Kill Tony episode. Is the reason why I picked that Kill Tony episode is because I know this guy in real life. Gave him a 2. Sorry, Chris. He might not even remember me, honestly. I said in the video that I feel like he kind of threw away some of his normal material to try to do, like, Austin-tailored stuff. And other people that I know in real life have heard me give that sort of criticism when I watched this set, and they sort of, like, back me up on that, and they're like, yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head on that. So yeah, 2 out of 10, Chris. You'll get him next time. Duncan Stone Street, another 2 out of 10 from the Kill Tony episode. I don't know this guy in real life, but we performed at the same comedy club, Playhouse, Jacksonville, North Carolina. Stand up. What's up? But no, he didn't have a good set. He did a joke about Lizzo that didn't make any sense at all. I'm tired of hearing jokes about fucking Lizzo, man. It came out right around the time the whole, like, backup dancer banana story happened, but then the joke he made about that was, like, the same joke that everybody made at every open mic that week. Wasn't a good Kill Tony set. And if you do bad on Kill Tony, I don't think that means you're, like, necessarily a shit comic, because, like, judging someone off of 1 minute of stand-up, it's like, take it with a grain of salt. Now some of these guys, like you, I feel comfortable judging you off of 1 minute of stand-up, because if you say that in private to anyone and I find out about it, I'm going to be upset. But Joseph Hewitt was a double feature with Daryl Blewett down here, Banola Bar guy. Joseph Hewitt, not Not a lot to say about him, and nobody knows who he is, so nobody cares. But I gave him a 3 out of 10, which is better than a lot of these comics. And I think bar for bar, as far as stand-up goes, he's worse than many of the people that are underneath him on this. But it was the first video I ever made, and I was judging it a little bit differently. Like, I was sort of judging him as someone who had never done an open mic before, or maybe done like 5 open mics before, which is what I think he was at when I did that. Still a negative, still significantly negative review I gave him, but Jeff Dye. Now Jeff Dye, I think there's a good chance that next PR season, I revisit him. This guy sucks, man. He is like an evolved version of Ben Bankus, where he is definitely a grifter. There's a little bit more smoke and mirrors with Jeff Dye, where he will throw some jokes in there to sort of as like a smoke screen to mask the fact that he's just grifting. He's grifting it up. Like, what was the special? The Last Cowboy in California or something? Got such a chode. Yeah, no, that guy's a pussy. He gets the fries in the bag. The clip that I reviewed of him, whether you like Jeff Dye or not, maybe you saw his special and you liked it a lot, which I think I watched since then, and I didn't review it, but I will acknowledge it was a lot better than the clip I saw from him. I just watched whatever the most recent, like, 5-minute clip was, and he did a joke about, like, it didn't even make any fucking sense at all. It was terrible. Go watch my Jeff Dye video, and you can't tell me it doesn't suck. I don't know. He has that whole lame, like, I'm another whiskey drinking, straight talking dude and all that. It's like you're just like everybody else. You're just like everybody else who was not talented enough to find your own voice. And really, that's that. He gets the fries in the bag award, and TC, this right here, that's the Tribunal curse. He's the first person to get the Tribunal curse. I don't think we've ever talked about it before, but I made that Tribunal video, and then it was not long after that that American Redact put out some video. It was shitting on him, like, failed comedian begs for money online, and he was. Fuck you, Jeff Dye. I'll probably watch another one of your videos sometime in the next however many months and call you bad again. But until then, have fun being cursed. Hans Kim. Loser. This guy's now, I think one thing that's interesting about Hans Kim, so he's on this list because he was the first comic I reviewed on the Kill Tony episode, and people hated that video, and most people didn't really watch more than 4 minutes into the video, and at that point in the video, the only thing I talked about was Hans Kim, and Hans Kim, he didn't get a positive review from me, but it was half a point negative. I guess they wanted me to give Hans Kim like a 10 out of 10 or something. It wasn't anything special. I'm honestly surprised they gave him this high of a score, and a lot of people I've talked to that have seen it since then have told me the same thing. But people were furious that I did not accept Hans Kim with arms wide open, and I just called him lame because he just goes up and does like hacky, aren't trans people silly jokes, and then he's like, so here's how much my watch costs. It's like, this guy sucks. I don't care about any of this. And you talk to comics in my area, because like I said in that video, like, Hans Kim used to be kind of doing the same circuit of mics like that I'm doing now, and people who have been around long enough to know him from that time are like, yeah, he used to come around and none of us really thought he was that funny, and then he kind of got famous and we're all just like, yeah, he's not very funny. But yeah, Hans Kim, I expect to review him again sometime in the future as well. That's one thing about Hans Kim. I don't think he's a completely incompetent comedian. I think he's lame, and I don't think there's anything remarkable about him. But I think as a, like, in a vacuum, he knows how to put a joke together, which is more than I can say for a lot of these people down here. Hans Kim, definitely not completely incompetent either. But but yeah, I don't really see much value in anything that he does. William Montgomery, this is another guy. I got friends who have, like, opened up for him, been on tour with him, so I view him a little bit more cordially, I guess. Well, I know people who've opened up for Hans Kim too. I don't know. I don't fucking know. I don't give a shit about any of these guys. But the thing, William Montgomery, he was a little bit like Cam Patterson, where I heard more positive things about him, and he went up last on a Kill Tony episode that was really quite horrendous. That's one of the other things. Like, I said it was bad. Kill Tony, Kill Tony himself, Tony Hinchcliffe himself, at the end of the episode said it was a terrible show, and then everybody in the comments was mad at me because I didn't know what real comedy was. But I was like, your boy Tony Hinchcliffe just said the same thing that I did, so I don't know. Anyway, yeah, Montgomery went up and did perfectly mediocre, just true mid. We'll probably talk about him in the future also. Daniel Fritchie. Absolutely nothing to say about this guy. I gave him a 5.5 out of 10 because, again, he can put a joke together. He's just completely unremarkable, and I made a video about him because I found him in a Facebook group while I was just kind of pissed off and tired. So I decided to just be mean and bully him. This is for all you Austin pussies who said I never said anything nice about any of these guys. I gave Jeremy, a.k.a. Adam Ray, a 6 out of 10. That's a positive review. Get the fuck over it. He did a minute of stand up. Some of it was funny, some of it was hack, and he got a positive review. Stop crying. All right, now we're starting to get into the actual good ones. So there were, like, out of all the 24 we did, 1/4 of them were worth a shit. Ali Wong, watched a short set of hers. I think it was a clip from one of her specials. Obviously knows how to put a joke together. Obviously can, connect with a pretty broad audience. Looks like she belongs on stage. Plenty of positive things to say about her. Gave her a solid 7.5 out of 10. And I laughed at something she said. I don't remember what it was, but Hall of Laughs. Good job. The first legitimate Hall of Laughs that we got on the list. Heavy hitters now. Matt McCusker. See, now we're starting to get into it. It's more than just like professionalism and stage presence and the ability to put jokes together. Now you're starting to get into like some real sort of like, I don't know if you want to say individuality, but the misdirects and the the turns and being able to take like your premise in like more like interesting and like unexpected directions. I think Matt, like, that special gets shot in the foot by like a lot of the audio sort of editing complaints I had. But Hall of Laughs, dude, that Whole Foods bit, so good. Just realized I do not know how to do my job, and I forgot to put Matt Rife on the list. But here he is. He got an 8 out of 10. He would be right beside Matt McCusker, I would say. Again, not my style, but I enjoyed it, which I think is one of the better compliments that I can give someone. Yeah, it's great. 4. Thomas Cliffman. This is not a real person. I gave him a 9.5 out of 10. This is the second video I ever did. It's one of my friends down here. He entered a comedy competition as this character, Thomas Cliffman. His real name's AJ. Very, very smart, very good at stand up. And knows his way around this stuff. And he's honestly one of the highest compliments I can give someone like that, because he is a little bit more of like an alt comedy. Primarily does sketches. Like he got Super Bowl money before. He wrote like a Doritos Super Bowl commercial, so he got some off of that. But no, he's legit as hell. But for something to not be my style and for me to still kind of enjoy it, I think that says a lot about someone. Just funny and airtight, and he does a really good job of like walking the line between technical and just like silly and just like purely funny stuff. So nothing but good things to say about my boy Thomas. Shane Gillis, in my opinion, the best living comedian right now. Patron saint of Philadelphia. I will die for my country, Philadelphia. Hall of Laughs, obviously. That Austin special, peak, Kino. Go watch it if you haven't already. There's nobody in the world who's not going to love that special. Nick Mullen, I can't give it anything less than a 10, especially when I started doing stand-up in Richmond and everybody kept calling me like a Nick Mullen clone. I'm like, I can't. I mean, he did a lot to inspire sort of like the Shane Gillises of the world. There really are. There's so many people that I know that are like heavily influenced by Nick Mullen, and then we got one more 10. Who is it? None of you are going to know because this video is not allowed to be on YouTube, but we're keeping him on the rankings regardless. Brian Regan, quite possibly the GOAT, maybe the greatest of all time, honestly. I watched the clip I reviewed of his is he's telling a story about someone telling him a story about buying a lottery ticket, and he like turns that into like a fire bit. Turn just pure nothing into gold. And he's been doing that since before I was born, basically. Yeah, if you want to argue that he's like the best comic ever, I'd probably agree with you, honestly. But yeah, and none of you can see that video because Netflix is a joke. Says, Comedy Tribunal, you are not allowed to use any of this footage. Even after YouTube upholds your appeal, we are going to strike your content yet again. So, fuck you, Netflix is a joke. You suck. I guess one of the biggest takeaways is the ones that I really, really liked are these 5 right now. Ali Wong, good job. Adam Ray, nice to meet you. And then the rest of these, not very good. So maybe next time we'll try to get, we'll try to find more of these sort of 8 out of 10s and higher. There's a part of me that wants to revisit Ben Bankus, but honestly, he doesn't deserve it. Anyway. Anyway, probably going to go record the next video that I'm about to record right now.